Today's episode of the Rewatchables is brought to you by the Ringer Podcast Network, where you can find my podcast. You can find Chris Ryan's podcast, The Watch. You can find Craig Horlbeck's podcast, The Ringer Fantasy Football Show. Fantasy football, week 10.
I know.
This is where the strong become the strong and the weak become the weak.
That's right. It's nut crunching time for fantasy.
You like when we have celebrities on the Rewatchables because it just throws a chainsaw into the hot tub for the podcast.
Yeah, and I got to say, the secret's out. We have Glen Powell. He set the bar pretty high for celebrities on the Rewatchables.
I was going to say, I think we learned some things in this episode. It's good when the celebrity has listened to the podcast and knows the Ringer and knows who we are. It's good when they suggest the movie and they really care that we did it. And I don't know. This was also a great movie that you'd actually seen, even though it came out in the 1990s.
Yeah, this is a classic. I've seen it many times. Glenn has seen it many times, and you can tell based on his performance.
People are upset that we don't do a lot of Jim Carrey movies, but I've been saving it for Jim Carrey month, and yet we just haven't done Jim Carrey month.
Yeah,
so
Ace
at some point,
Ventura, I can't wait for Ace Ventura.
Yeah, we have a bunch of ones. Anyway, Rewatchables coming up next. The Truman Show with Glen Powell. This episode is presented by PayPal. Let's talk holiday shopping. Make the most of your money. With PayPal, they give you the flexibility to pay in full. No fees, no interest. Save the offer in the PayPal app to get 5% cash back when you pay later. So whether you're shopping for an ugly sweater party, a work gala, or whatever else, PayPal helps you make the most of your money. This holiday expires 12/31. See paypal.com/promo terms. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payinfor. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457. All right. We've been talking about this pre-Top Gun Maverick.
We have?
Because you said you liked this podcast.
I'm a big fan of this podcast, yeah.
And we were like, we got to get Glen Powell on CR. And then COVID, Top Gun Maverick, you started making movies left and right, and it took 5 years, but now we're here.
It was worth the wait. It's worth the wait. This is honestly like the perfect moment. I really like, there's a lot of comps between the Truman Show and Running Man, and just like the fact that I've gotten I've had a long time to like watch y'all's podcast and watch you guys do what you do. It feels like we've earned it now.
Are you a big rewatcher? Do you have like a stable of movies that you're pumped, like you kind of like cycle through over and over again?
I love hosting movie nights at my house. So like everybody knows me to like, cook some dinner for people and like host a movie night.
Some dinner for people.
Yeah. Drinks and dinner, yeah.
Making some brisket,
yeah,
like what are you doing?
Just I love man in a grill. So what we'll do is we'll just like have like a little theater thing in my house. And so what we do is we just like kind of choose a movie that a lot of people haven't seen. Basically, what you guys do here, and we talk about it afterwards. So like kind of the same debrief. We do like a Rewatchables version.
Nice.
And it's like sometimes it's like cool serious movies, but sometimes you're like, hey, let's watch Three Ninjas.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
well,
I remember
this doesn't hold up.
What was your rom-com that hit? Set It Off?
Set It Up.
Set It Up.
Yep.
What's Set It Off?
I'm sure it's another movie.
That's my movie also. No, I remember when that hit.
Yeah.
And we were all happy because it was like right as Netflix was really emerging
like
as a movie place.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, our guy. Because we liked you for Everybody Wants Some. And it's like, oh, it's happening. And then you got Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, right after that, after it came out.
And I remember I had Miles on my podcast around there too. And it's like Top Gun Maverick, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And how many months did it get delayed? Like 18?
Yeah, it was like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it had been 2020 and we released summer 2022. So it's been a long time.
We did like a trailer reaction in like 2019.
Yeah, in the old offices.
Somebody asked me, they were like sitting there like, I had, like sometimes when iPhone like does like, remember when throwback photos? I mean, that was like 7 years ago we started shooting that movie.
Unbelievable. I've never seen a scenario like that where then it belatedly comes out and then it's huge. It was great for you. It was great for Miles. But we're going to talk about Truman Show.
Yeah.
We asked you for a list.
Yes.
You sent us a list of 10 movies.
Yep.
They're all pretty good choices. We hadn't done any of them.
Three
By the way,
Ninjas,
we've already
we're
done
kind of
Running
saving
Man.
for somebody bigger.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Three Ninjas, that'll be like the
Three Ninjas is the one no one saw coming. Yeah.
We're doing that
1,000th episode. But you said Truman Show was like near the top or maybe the first one. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. So why? What was it about Truman Show?
The Truman Show is, for me, it's one of those that for being kind of like a really messed up premise, if you really like spend time thinking about it.
Yeah, we will.
It's a movie that has like so much joy for people. Like it was like that moment in the 90s. I love 90s movies, but I just like think it was like a perfect role for Jim Carrey. There was like a wish fulfillment. I think like whenever I try to choose a movie, I always try to think about what the universal emotion is, like something we've all felt, but something that, you know, we're not tapping into. So it feels like there's a collective feeling around it. And I feel like we've all had that feeling of being manipulated, the idea that like being watched, like that same sort of feeling. I feel like it's kind of built into humans.
For sure.
And what's so interesting, it's such an ambitious movie that's actually made in kind of like a way that doesn't feel like too sci-fi or like too, you know, too far in the future. Like it feels very much of this world, which makes it like a very kind of almost like a religious experience rather than a science fiction experience. It's like it's a very interesting movie, but I find that everybody I show it to can talk about life. It's like one of my favorite things to do when I watch movies with people. It spurs conversations. Like you talk about the movie and everyone has such a different read on it. I mean, you could literally go back to, you know, ancient Greeks if you wanted to when you're talking about this movie. You could talk about religion. You could talk about, you know, where we are with reality TV shows and like, you know, how society sort of likes to control people. Like, you know, like how we check into someone else's reality, but we're not really living in our own. Like there's so many cool things to talk about. So I find that it's a movie that really...
Jesus. He's fucking host a podcast.
I just
Me and
love
him could just go rewatch Celtics Sixers
We
if you want to.
so I really like Jim Carrey. Instead, it was like a long
I do
monologue.
love Jim Carrey. We talked about Dumb and Dumber. Like I love, you know, Jim Carrey. This was also one of his movies that I love because it kind of tapped into like a dramatic side to him. It still used his like superpower.
Yeah.
But didn't hold on to it too tightly. It allowed him to do some other things.
Do you have, so like this is just a great part. So when you're watching this, you're an actor, you're always thinking about projects. Like you must see a movie like this and be like, fuck, what a great part.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have played Truman.
I mean, I think there's a lot of different types of actors that could play this role in the fact that I think it's a very well-written part. But I do think when you take on a role, you sort of have to figure out what the sort of guiding attribute is. And this movie could be played as a horror movie.
Yeah.
It could be played a million different ways. And the fact that he sort of lives in this blissful kind of like silly world, like the stakes of his world are low stakes until something drops out of the sky and kind of shakes him out of it. So it's something kind of that actually Jim Carrey, the way he plays it, I think is probably the strongest way.
You know what's cool too is that this movie had such an interesting development history, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And like there were different permutations of the script. There were different directors up for directing it. There were different actors up for doing it. And each one of them, you're like, oh, that would have been cool. Yeah. Or that would have been interesting. But something about Peter Weir and Jim Carrey and what they chose to do with it, you're like, that's timeless. Like, you can't change a note of this movie.
It really was the most Robin Williams part ever that he didn't do.
Yeah, it totally.
And ironically, he was, not to step on casting what ifs, but he was like kind of mentioned and circled a little bit before they decided on.
I think pretty much none of this cast was like the original.
No.
The original.
Wait, since we're talking about parts and being jealous and circling, have you picked your part in Heat 2 yet? What character? Which character?
Seems like everybody's in that movie except me.
Yeah, you're not in those stories.
No, man. I looked at the storyboards. I'm not in them.
You were in the Miami Vice remake ones, though. I saw those. You and MBJ.
You know what's really a fun thing that's happening right now? It's like the first time in my life where a casting announcement comes out and it's like, there's no truth to it, but like everybody congratulates you on it. I'm like, I'm just gonna let it.
But are you ever like, that's pretty sick?
Yeah, I mean, look,
I'm Sonny Crockett.
Like, you know, honestly, it's a very funny moment in life in my career because like you do, you know, get to sort of retread like even with Twisters, right?
Yeah.
What a fun road. Like, as a Texas boy who grew up around, you know, Tornado Alley, and like that was such a seminal movie. You know, Bill Paxton was such a, you know, he's a Texas Film Hall of Fame guy, you know, and he's like what they did with that movie was really, really special. And so to kind of retread you know, that ground was like really fun to do that with Top Gun, you know, it was amazing. So I that's one of the favorite parts of my career is as a fan of movies, I sometimes get to revisit these things.
What are Kilmer's part for him?
Shirtless. He's already got the short hair after the haircut, you know?
Can I rock a pony?
Stunt pony or a real pony?
I was born for a pony.
Yeah. So I honestly don't rule out Sonny Crockett. Okay, I don't know. What are your cigarette skills?
Decent? It's nonstop. I mean,
the cigarettes are huge.
Yeah.
No, I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you
Like
fake Florida?
What?
Could you fake Florida? Could you fake South Florida?
I don't think you fake Florida, do you? You don't fake Miami.
Can Texas fake?
You just get tan. What's the problem?
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Just one spray tan away. That's what Florida is. Yeah.
Truman Show.
Yeah.
What else is on? It's one of the last lines of the movie. The old guys watching.
I love that movie. Those are my two favorite. I mean, we're going to talk about the Dion Waiters of it all. Later,
yeah.
But I personally, and there's other great choices, but I think those guys are the best exposition, sneaky exposition of the whole movie.
So basically, this movie is foreshadowing everything that's about to come, which is why it's such a fascinating rewatchable. It was great in the moment. I remember when it came out, I saw it in the theater. I had an illegal cable box in Boston in the late 90s, and they would rerun the pay-per-views. So it'd be like 12, 2:30, 5 o'clock. And I just kind of got sucked into Truman Show for like a week. And there's so many little Easter eggs and little things in there. And the more you watch, you're like, fuck, this movie's kind of fucking me up. And then you start like, are there cameras here? It's one of those where you start like reevaluating, just like walking to Dunkin' Donuts, getting a coffee.
No, it's kind of amazing. I mean, even just watching it the other night, I like noticed some like, they are very good. I mean, Peter Weir especially is just very good with production design and like the little Easter eggs that they put in there. Even like I saw on like this one little arch in the scene when sort of like, Truman is kind of like, having his freak out with the bus in the public where he's literally kind of starting to put it all together. On the arches, it says, it said, I looked at it, saw this Latin stuff and I was like, well, I wonder what that is. And it says, it translates to all for one, one for all.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like, oh, that's cool. I love when there's intention and purpose behind it.
But it's like, they don't foreground that.
No.
They're like, hey, if you notice, you notice. Like there's a bunch of little things like that where it actually will answer some of the questions you might have about how they would pull this off. But they don't make it a major element of the scene because the point of the scene is the emotion or this guy's journey or whatever. So it's,
in my head, like as the years passed, I thought like, oh, reality TV, there was this huge boom. And Truman, I just kind of forgot how early this
Survivor,
was.
isn't it?
It's before everything.
This kind of weirdly kicked it off. Like this predated by a year or two.
Yeah, I did the origin. So apparently the first reality show was called Nummer TV on Dutch television. I don't know if you guys have the DVDs.
I have the box set, yeah.
I only watched Dutch
that was the
television.
first putting people in a house. Real World was 92. I feel like the OJ trial was kind of a reality show, even though
Definitely.
it wasn't. It was like an unintentional reality show.
Yep.
Road Rules on MTV was 95. And that's it. So Truman Show comes in 98, and it's like this whole world is coming where anybody can be famous. Anyone's like day-to-day life can actually be something. And they were making Ed TV at the same time with McConaughey.
Was Ed TV before or after?
After.
So it was kind of this moment, but then Survivor, Big Brother at 2000, then Bachelor comes and
the only thing
hit that whole world.
I was going to compare this to was did you ever see the Michael Apted movies, the 7 Up, the series, where they follow these kids from 7 on and he makes them like every 7 years about? And that is like a little bit like these kids, their whole lives exist within the framework of these movies, but the crucial thing about Truman is that he doesn't know he's participating in something that everybody else does. Whereas all reality shows, people are like, yeah, I did this to be on camera, Yeah,
it shifted really fast. I remember when I was working for Kimmel Show the first year, our lead guest for one episode was the lady that got voted off second to last on Joe Millionaire.
Oh my God. Wait, what's her name?
Lead guest, Sarah something, I want to say.
Okay.
I just dated her.
No.
Sure.
I wrote Joe Millionaire.
Sarah and I, we had our
dating
thing.
era for sure.
But but that Joe Millionaire was being watched by
Sarah Kozer.
Way to go. Good get.
20 million plus people.
I remember that
Joe
show.
Fucking Millionaire.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah. So it's just like something shifted. Truman Show saw all of it.
Do you know what's a real? I don't know if you guys have seen this show, Jury Duty.
Yeah,
but I realized like that is Truman Show. That's modern Truman Show.
Yeah,
like the idea that everybody's in on except one guy.
God, I hadn't really thought about that with Jury Duty, but I love that show.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
Jimmy did a movie for Comedy Central called Windy City Heat, where they just pranked this one guy with all of these. This was probably like 2002 range, and it was the same kind of premise. He was the only one who didn't know what was happening. This Truman Show was I would say a little more elaborate because they had. I can't wait to do some of the nitpicks. the number of actors and extras.
I mean, as a first AD, I was literally thinking like sometimes I like to like look at a movie and kind of go, okay, like what is the production designer's job?
Yeah.
What's the first AD's job? Like what do they stay up at night? But like what keeps them up at night?
Yeah.
And the first AD on the Truman Show, it's a nightmare.
Just 24 hours
unwranglable, 24 hours a day.
They would have people breaking. We can get into it. Yeah.
Well, Top Gun Maverick was probably the biggest, most amount of people movie you made.
Most amount of people movie,
like just behind the scenes, like people doing shit.
I think it was the amount of I would just say like institutions that were involved. Because I mean you're dealing with like the United States Navy. You're dealing with the government. Like you're dealing with $80 million aircraft, and you're flying them like not how they're normally flying them.
Right.
And so there's a lot. I mean, we would have to give briefs in front of the actual Navy every day before we flew. Like I had to tell them altitude, here's my airspace, here's gonna be my coordinates, here's the sun position. If this plane's moving at this, and I had to give a brief every morning of exactly what we were doing, and you're doing it for the production, like like your production department heads. So they're aware of what's happening. So it matches up in the edit.
Yeah.
So you're saying, hey, if I'm looking at 3:00, is the plane going to be there, or is it 4:00 or 5:00? So it all cuts together.
Jesus.
Or am I looking down on this plane, like where? And you're doing it with little plane sticks and acting everything out. So it was like, but you have to remember, like you're not like fake planes. Like we're putting civilians flying like 100 feet off the ground at 500 miles an hour. It's like it's a big deal.
Plus you had to deal with our guy Cruz, the Rewatchables leader, by like 4 movies.
Yeah.
I think he's got a 4-movie lead over Denzel
his
and
run in the
else.
90s was.
I think we've done all of them except for like Far and Away at this point.
There's
his 90s movies.
Oh, there's some meat on the bone, Chris.
Is there really?
Oh yeah, we got some Mission Impossibles left.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I don't think we've done all the right moves. There's some 80s stuff.
Yeah, all the right
don't
moves.
Don't worry, Tom Cruise. We got you. The comedian who doesn't want to be a comedian for a movie, a Hollywood staple.
Yeah.
Bill Murray, The Razor's Edge. Adam Sandler, Punch Drunk Love.
Yep.
Will Ferrell, Stranger Than Fiction.
Yep.
They always have to have that one where they're like, I can do more than this in a good way.
Do you think Good Morning Vietnam is Robin Williams' dramatic turn?
World According to Garp, I think was.
Oh, I guess that's right.
Because he's coming out of Mork and Mindy, just like, hey, I'm not just like goofy.
Was that pre-Goodwill? Or what was the one he did with Insomnia?
That's later.
That's later. That's
later.
Nolan.
Yeah.
What? And then Awakenings is when?
Awakenings
was early 90s. That was another
90s.
one. When he was like, I also have serious Robin Williams. I can do that character. How many sides do you have?
How many sides?
You have rom-com
seen
Glen
Hitman?
Powell,
He's got a lot.
action Glen Powell.
I'm trying to cover my
PI?
bingo board right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what the fun part about this moment in the job is people give you a very long leash.
Yeah.
Right? And they only basically say no when you've proven that you can't do it. Right. And so what I'm like really trying to do right now is like really just like all the movies that kind of inspired me to do this job, like all the things that we're talking about, like as just movie fans, I'm kind of going, I don't really think of it from a me side as much as just like the types of movies I want to make. And then you always want to know what you're good at. You always want to know like what you don't want to, take on something that is like just not a fit. But like at the end of the day, like going into something that kind of scares you is a good thing.
Well, he's got some sports movie mortality. Like how old are you now?
37, just turned 37 2 days ago.
But maybe a 10-year window now for sports movies.
He's chucking it in Chad Powers, though.
I know. You got Chad Powers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants them.
It's fun.
I feel like there's like an end of the career baseball movie. Maybe it's like a comedy drama. A little like for Love of the Game.
I may or may not be building one of those.
Come on.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah,
because you were good at baseball.
Yeah, thank you.
For real.
Thank you. Yeah.
What about
that
the
was
Val
really
Kilmer part from Heat? He moves to South America, plays winter ball in Panama.
Yeah.
So it could be Heat 3.
That's how they find him?
But yeah.
It's a really weird.
He's hitting 400 in the Mexico League.
Connecting this tonally, we have to a lot of shifting in the first act. What
are your other sports?
I mean, I would say that like lacrosse would be like a fun one to do.
Lacrosse?
There's not really any lacrosse.
There's no
movies.
lacrosse movies.
Oh my God.
That would be really fun.
Aging lacrosse guys.
I just feel like baseball movies that for me, like obviously Linklater's like a guy that will team up, many times over. But talking to him about baseball, it's hard not to like go, oh, what's a great baseball movie? Because he's one of the only guys that I would say directors out here that really know the sport.
Right.
And like
Baseball and
understand what
boxing
makes
are
it great.
kind of-
Yeah. It's
They're
hyper
kind of
specific.
undefeated with movies. They never
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
They keep coming out.
I wanted to ask you, so Peter Weir,
Yep.
Yeah.
kind of, who I was thinking about this last night, kind of reminds me of Linklater in that there's not like an overbearing visual style that you're like, that's that guy's movie.
Yep.
It's like a Scorsese shot or a
Yeah.
Chris Nolan shot. But he gets incredible performances. Like all of his films, this is a third or fourth Peter Weir. Like we've done Dead Poets, we've done
We did Witness. We'll do Master and Commander at
and
some
Master
point.
and Commander at
Yeah.
some point. What is it about like the actor's director? Like when you're working with Linklater or something like that, like how does he get such naturalistic and human performances out of people? And do you see some of that?
It's a really good question, Chris
That's a
Ryan.
really
Chris
good
Ryan's
question.
on his game today.
You know what's interesting about Link is that you can tell when a director. I always kind of like sniff it out with a director and kind of you kind of feel what are they paying attention to, right? And a lot of times you can feel when a director is like doing things where it's like, obviously there's always a million things to do and when they're paying attention to the background artists, they're seeing how things fill up a frame. They're looking at light, they're looking at camera movement or whatever. Linklater is the first guy that will call out bullshit on performance. He's like, something's not reading here, but we do a lot of the rehearsals to make sure that we're all on the same page. Like he's a guy that, as an actor, there's nothing better than when a director, you know something's bullshit, and then a director goes, "Hey, I just didn't buy it." Yeah. You're like, "Oh, I'm taken care of." Right?
Interesting.
He's got your back.
He's got your back.
Authenticity. Turns out it matters in Hollywood.
Yeah. But as an actor, like a lot of times, like you work with a filmmaker and you're like, they're great shooters. They know how to work the camera. Like they know how to shoot, all these different, action or, they're great with, creating tension or thrilling elements. But then you realize you're on your own performance level.
Yeah.
That's when you're kind of living at the monitor, making sure, I do that anyway at the beginning of a movie to see how it's sort of reading with all the elements. But it's really nice to have a filmmaker who is looking out for you in that way. Cause then you can just play, then you understand that the edit's going to take care of you.
Right.
You don't have to edit yourself.
I have all these premiere magazines from the 1990s and they wrote about Truman Show in 98. And it was a long interview with Peter Weir. And they asked him, like, how are you so good at these characters? And he said, because he was making movies in Australia in the 70s, right? He made like
Picnic and Hanging Rock,
like all those ones. But he said they had no good screenwriters in Australia.
Wow.
And you kind of, if you were a director, you also had to like revise all of these shitty scripts. And like, so that really got him when he was younger to learn how to like work with dialogue with actors. And he's like, in a weird way, it like worked out for me because I was always thinking about this when I was a young director. And then as it translated when I got older, I that's why I can work with actors so well. I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
How to make it work.
Yeah.
Well, you realize that there's a lot, like as an actor, like I always appreciate it, especially in this movie, when certain things are happening for Truman in a weird way. And like, you only get so many buy-ins in a movie. Like there's a lot of buy-ins that you have to, buy into here about like what he's aware of, what he's not aware of, like how many lights that have fallen down from the sky that didn't start unraveling his sense of the world.
Sure.
Like there's a few things like to build a history of Truman is a very interesting thing. And like sort of what you have to brush under the rug and sort of what you have to kind of honor. And I just thought that you could tell that Peter Weir and Jim Carrey were really on the same page with like how to react to certain things, right? Like to react like kind of like comedically to it and then like kind of move on with your life.
Yeah.
Not let it marinate too long because then the audience is going to marinate on it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's the audience surrogate, even though we have more information than Truman, if he's thinking about it too much, the logic police start kicking in, and you do not want that for this movie.
I mean, he does something, Weir does something really cool where he both identifies exactly what somebody's good at. So like Carrey has all this like physical, he's so gifted at moving. Like he's almost like Gene Kelly in this movie. He's like gliding through these scenes, but he also like knows when to like, whether he knows or Carrey knows to when to take it down 5% so that it doesn't turn into The Mask at any moment, like, or it doesn't turn into like kind of a more comic over the top performance. And I think it's what you're talking about. It keeps us connected to him because he seems just enough like a real guy
Right.
to buy him in this completely unreal situation.
Well, I like that he waited for Carrey for a year.
That
When
is
they
cool.
decided
Yeah.
he was doing it, he was like, this has to be the guy. And he's like, well, I got to make Cable Guy and the Liar Liar. And they're like, all right. So
Great.
then apparently Weir spent like a year just thinking about the movie, storyboarding. And he hadn't done a movie since Fearless in 93. So he wanted backstories for all the cast. So he went like deep dive. I'm going to create like, who's Marlon? What's his backstory? How did he grow up? And he
The
just
Dead
went all
Poets
in.
characters, like all the actors on Dead Poets were like, Weir had us do our own biographies for every character. Like we would write our own biographies and rehearse them and talk about stuff that wasn't even going to be in the movie. But he was like, it was just that level of care.
Well,
Glenn's going to do that for Miami Vice, the remake. Sonny Crockett autobiography.
You guys do a subcategory for Sonny Crockett Best Ponytail Award. The interesting part about Truman Show in terms of also what you're talking about backstory.
Yeah.
Every single character in this movie, I always love like the category of like the rack focus movie.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, oh, if I rack focus to Laura Linney's character, how did she get cast in that show?
Absolutely.
What does that look like? Like even the contract of like her marrying a person and being like what is that? What does that SAG contract
days
look
off?
like?
Yeah,
Does
right.
she get days off? Like, what does that look like in perpetuity? Like, you know, that, and I just think that there were so many characters like that because this is sort of like you cannot make this premise bulletproof. So allowing you to like rack focus to different characters, you know, even Marlon, like, you know, even the dad, like the way he comes back. I'm sitting there going, I have so many questions, but everybody's really interesting. And when you have a social experiment like this, I was like, this is a world in which you can kind of constantly rack focus to cool people.
So we got Laura Linney, Ed Harris, Noah Emmerich, fresh from the Beautiful Guys set.
Yeah, that's
singing
right.
Neil
Beautiful
Diamond.
girls.
Peter Krause, Paul Giamatti, Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah.
I like lollipops in my, where's the butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth? That's just what I like.
This is right around the same time, too.
Yeah.
Right? He goes,
Natasha
Boogie Nights
McAlone? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Just looking great.
How do you say it?
McElhone, I think.
McElhone.
Yeah.
Looking great. Holland Taylor, Harry Shearer. Carrey's the star, obviously, and Carrey's in this heater from 94 to 2000. This is a 7-year run. I think it's probably the best that you could argue for any comedian ever, and it's in the running for best actor run ever. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Batman Forever, Ace 2, Cable Guy. He hosts SNL during Will Ferrell's first season, and it's probably one of the 4 best episodes of the history of the show. Liar, Liar. He has the Larry Sanders cameo in the last show where he jumps on the desk and sings to Larry Sanders. Man on the Moon, Truman Show, Me, Myself, and Irene, and Grinch Stole Christmas. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Insane.
In 7 years.
When's Eternal
And all
Sunshine?
those movies
Is that
made
later?
bank.
Eternal Sunshine, is that like
After.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, he started, the 2000s he slowed down a little bit, but I mean, that's like.
That's a pace, by the way.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy pace.
Yeah.
7 years.
And all kinds of different performances
Yeah.
and, you know, even like he became Andy Kaufman for like 4 months.
Yeah.
That
right after-
documentary is wild.
Yeah. Like he really like kind of lost his mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't know, CR, is he the most talented comedian we've ever had for to cross over into movies?
acting? It's probably between him and Robin Williams, right?
Yeah,
I agree.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie had a huge box office. I don't know if he's ever had like this diversity of parts, but Robin Williams and Jim Carrey would probably be my number.
I think Eddie
One of the
Murphy
two.
could have gotten there, but he had a similar unbelievable 7-year run, but he never figured out the drama side in the same way. That's
Yeah.
like the
Did he ever, what
hardest-
did he do drama
I did Dreamgirls, and
Yeah.
I mean, Boomerang is a rom-com, but is pretty.
Boomerang's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dabbled, but he never kind of landed it. But Carrey was just, it's like you look at the IMDb and it's like, what the hell?
Like seminal movies. Like, yeah.
Jesus, how did you do all that? Andrew Niccol wrote this movie in 93. We mentioned that.
Can I throw
set
out
in
a
New
quick
York.
Nickel fact here?
Yeah.
So this quote that he had in a recent enough, like 2023 interview with a Hollywood Reporter was actually like the best summation of like why this movie works. Is they were asking him like, what was your idea for the movie? And he goes, as children, we often think the world revolves around us. I thought it would be interesting if it did. And then he goes, it was that along with my lifelong inescapable paranoia that we are being lied to. And it's so you basically take Frank Capra and Alfred Hitchcock and you put it together. And that's what this movie is.
Well, so
Wow. That's great.
yeah, so they did 16 drafts. We wanted it to be a little funnier. And then reality really started to tick off a little bit too and made it a little bit easier. Is it better if you don't know reality TV is coming or if you knew reality TV happened? Like as an experience to watch this movie.
Like
I can't
watching
wait
it
to
in
find out from
hindsight?
Craig later. Yeah, watching it, knowing that Survivor and Big Brother and The Challenge and all these fucking crazy shows are coming.
Personally love, I mean, look, this movie came out. I was really young when this movie, I think I was 10 years old when this movie came out. But like watching it now as an adult, I actually get so much joy out of like knowing that reality TV is such an interesting social experiment, and the like why people watch it, the lengths people are willing to go to watch other people go through things, and like how we define reality, and like just the mercy that we have for people in these scenarios. It's like a very interesting thing that I like watching it now. I think as an adult, I appreciate it because it feels like it's possible. Like I know it says, I think there's like the real estate question of how you actually build like something like this, how you control something like this. But I think on a level, if it were feasible financially or practically, a network would do this in a heartbeat.
I mean, and legally,
Illegally, yeah. If it were feasible,
I would argue though, like you're legitimately famous. Like your life is a little Truman Show-ish every day because you're walking around this world. But when people see you and wherever, they're like, "Hey."
Yeah.
Which is a little like what this movie's doing, but the people can't, they kind of, you can just see their body language change when they see him, but it's a little similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been an interesting adjustment is you still walk through the world the same, and then sometimes you have those moments where you kind of look up and you're like, oh, this is, okay, everybody, it is a little bit of a paranoid thriller sometimes.
Yeah. I know it's hard for CR.
It's brutal.
We're going to take a break, and then I want to talk about the Oscars with this, which I was fascinated by. This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life's full of decisions, big and small. Sometimes you can make one that you really stand behind, like the Rewatchables. We felt like there was an opening in 2017 for a podcast directly devoted to movies because we had done it on the BS podcast in 2015. We did a 20th anniversary podcast about Heat, and it felt like that was an idea for a bigger podcast. We stuck to our guns. State Farm gets it. Making confident choices can make all the difference. That's why with the State Farm personal price plan, you can choose the right amount of coverage to help create an affordable price for you. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. All right, so how many Oscar nominations do you think this movie got?
All right. Did Ed Harris win or get nominated?
Nominated.
I'm sure Peter Weir had to get nominated.
Yes,
I'm sure Script got nominated.
That's 3.
I'm going to go production design.
No, we're done.
No, we're
Only
done.
3.
That's it. 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 3.
No Carrey.
No
picture.
Carrey.
Travesty.
You know what though? The Oscars, like there's a different path for a comedian getting to that stage, in my opinion.
It's a little bias.
I think you earn it in a different way.
It's like in the NFL, you have to be a 1 or a 2 seed to win the MVP, or else they don't take you seriously. Dak Prescott,
exactly.
He's just dead.
Man, thank God he's having a hell of a season.
Yeah,
it makes
doesn't
me
matter.
so happy.
He's got to go 13-4. So, Craig, were you shocked that he didn't win? That he didn't get nominated for this?
Yes, he 100% needed to get nominated.
I
Because comedians
actually
have
thought he
been
did.
nominated in the past. Like Robert Downey Jr. got a nom for Tropic Thunder.
Yep.
I mean, Johnny Depp for Pirates is kind of a comedy role, got nominated.
But those are dramatic actors that are doing a comedic thing and are sort of honored. I think it's a different thing for someone who's a true comedian.
It's a bias.
Yeah.
I coming to that stage.
Robert
Do you know what
Williams
I mean?
eventually
That
got
gear
over
shift.
it. Because I think Good Morning Vietnam was a big one for him.
This is a wild Oscar.
Well, Benigni wins for Life is Beautiful.
Yep.
Hanks, Private Ryan, Ian McKellen, Gods and Monsters, Nick Nolte, Affliction, and then Ed Norton, American History X. Really,
that's a good year.
The
That's a good year.
The two-handed dunk. That's what. That's what
That's
got
what it was.
But yeah, it's if you do it over again, I think Carrey's one of the 5.
Yeah,
and it's certainly one of his 2 or 3 best. Would people say Eternal Sunshine over this?
I would
best
have
ever?
this over Eternal. But
This
I
is a much more tough role, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
Eternal Sunshine is a brilliant premise that's like a really emotionally driven, brilliant premise. I think this one, as an actor, you go into a role and you know sort of how high that tightrope is off the ground. Is a really high tightrope.
So Weir got nominated. Spielberg won for Private Ryan. And then the script, I think it was Shakespeare in Love. Ended up winning. So there you go. $60 million budget, made $264 million. We used to go see movies.
Well,
now it's coming back.
That's
coming
also
back.
like, that's the perfect return on it. Like, right? It's like 60. We're not over our heads here. 200 and whatever is like a huge hit.
We didn't have Hollywood Reporter back then going, it still hasn't made the money back. They spent $271 million.
Yeah, it really is a whole thing where you sit there like,
who cares?
I'm just like a big believer in cheering for everyone in this business. I think like that's a thing that it's really hard to take big swings and have big wins in this business. And like when a movie wins, like one battle after another, I freaking love this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm cheering for that thing to win. I hate when people like yuck your yum. And you're like, well, but it didn't.
They did it with Sinners too, which was
so dumb.
Siskel and Ebert gave this movie 2 thumbs up on TV. And I don't remember seeing this before. An on-air apology to Jim Carrey. Because they said after Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, which they hated, they said he would never have a movie career.
You're kidding.
And 4 years later, they loved this movie.
People hated Carrey when he like my dad was a film critic like these guys, and like I just remember him like sitting through the farting and him just being like, I can't do this, and like this guy's such a joke. And then like 5 years later,
it's an Ace Ventura cutoff line is probably like 45. Somehow I'm way over it, and I still think it's hilarious. But a certain type of older person thought it was like the worst thing that had ever been inflicted on mankind.
52-year-old haggard film critics were like, I can't do it.
Just like, I'm done. Just shoot me in the head right now.
I don't know if it's nostalgia. I mean, it really, that is one of those things that is the dumbest premise, and it only works because of full commitment.
Yes.
To creating jokes out of nothing.
Can I ask you a question? You're either going to laugh at that or you're not.
You're not.
When he's
you can't explain that.
And talking to this, but you're either going to hate that or love it. That's it. Anyway.
The rhino in When Nature Calls, I think is still one of the greatest physical gags of all time.
So Ebert, 4 stars. Absolutely loved it. Talked about how it brought in focus the new values that technology is forcing on humanity. Because we can engineer genetics, because we can telecast real lives. Of course we must, right? But are these good things to do? The irony is the people who will finally answer that question will be the very ones produced by the process. Raj saw the world coming.
Yeah.
But Gattaca, which was the other one Nickel wrote, was fascinated in this world too. Yeah. What's going to happen when technology takes over?
And he was like, these 2 movies are basically related for me. Like
the good news is technology's fine now. I think it's going great.
I think we're good, man. Yeah.
Nothing on the horizon to worry about.
It's not like there's big scary companies or anything. It's going awesome.
Good. I'm sleeping tight. Yeah.
It's time for one of our favorite segments, the most rewatchable scene, and it's brought to you today by PayPal. When you want to make the most of your money, head to the PayPal app, save the 5% pay later offer before you check out. They give you the flexibility to pay in for no fees, no interest. All right, we're doing the categories. Thankfully, Glenn has listened to the podcast and he's excited. Most rewatchable scene is the start. All right. I'm just going to throw out the ones I had, and if I missed any, tell me. But the opening, how it opens, like the show
with Christoph.
Yeah. And you're like, what's going on? I thought Peter Weir directed this movie. But he has that thing where he says, I like how it's a reality show convincing people that it's real life and that it's better than acting. Meanwhile, nothing at all is real. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, like the sit down interview.
Yeah, I'm in. Truman's flashback to being in love with the other girl in high school.
With Lauren, yeah.
Yeah. And that whole sequence, the way she looks at him. I like movies when you get an actor to look at another actor like that with like just real love and affection. I think it's underrated.
She gets the most bang for her buck for probably having a fewest lines in this movie
like
and being like literally over the whole movie with just looks.
Yes.
Truman starts to figure it out with the radio frequency in the car.
Love that scene.
Hospital. Spotting the Fiji ticket with the makeup bib. The lady still forgot to take the bib off. The bus breaks down. So we got that. Truman tries to escape with Meryl.
Yep.
Finally drives over the water. They catch him. Now you know it's bad. Quickly, the Moco Coco scene when he's
That's
like,
great.
Who
are you talking to?
She's just doing that thing. Marlon's heart to heart with Truman.
This is
if I'm in on it, everyone,
heartbreaking.
if everyone's in on it, it means
And
I'd
you're
have
like,
to be on
you're
it.
a scumbag.
Yeah, but also Christoph giving him the lines and
It's
him
so good.
kind of being like,
Yeah.
God damn
Big
it.
reveal. So they don't reveal this. It's like the 50-minute mark of the movie.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now we wind back. There's a crew watching,
Yeah.
and we're like, holy shit, this is what we're doing. Like it doesn't really set in, right?
Yeah, that's how it all works.
Whole universe watching. Truman's crying when he sees his dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good moment. Yeah.
There's a theory he's crying because he knows that his whole life's been a lie.
Oh.
He's not crying because he's happy to see his dad again. He's crying because he's
Oh,
like,
this is
holy
all
shit.
set up.
They're
Yeah. Oh.
Because right after that moment, he's on to everything.
I would love to ask Jim Carrey that question.
Maybe he played it both ways.
Yeah.
Weir's like, yeah, dude. Truman escapes in the basement. A little Shawshankish.
Yeah. For sure.
Dark.
Truman's sailboat adventure with Christoph going heel.
The great
He's
wave machine.
Going Old Testament
Yeah,
on him.
he was.
Yeah. Do it up. Put it up
Yeah.
to the danger. I want to point out the score. How good the
Great
score is
score.
in this movie, and
Yeah.
especially the scene. And then when he hits the end of the world,
It's the best.
you're like, wait, what happened?
I think maybe one of the most iconic endings to a movie
yeah,
ever. It's
certainly.
so
And then
well
Truman
directed.
says
Yeah.
goodbye.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there any other ones you would throw in?
No, I bringing up score. I think the moment that he's kind of discovering things, like where he's turning on that street, and then he's stopping the bus, and he's starting to kind of put it all together. There's the score behind that. I realize that I go, oh, I think in any other director's hands, they start playing it like a little bit more paranoid and kind of built-in tension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played it triumphantly.
Right.
And it was an interesting thing where it makes you like root for Truman.
Right.
Like it's almost like, oh, he's putting it together, and we're like on the page of going, oh, let's go, Truman. Like
that's
he's putting it
the-
together. It's like
That's Philip Glass, I think.
yeah,
that they're
Philip
playing.
Glass. Like,
Yeah.
but I just thought it was a really brilliant musical cue because it trains the audience to root for him rather
Chris,
than.
let's do that with the Miami Vice remake. When the three of us hash it out.
Yeah.
So what do you have for most rewatchable?
Most rewatchable. I think that scene is the most rewatchable scene. Is him putting it all together.
He's right. Yeah. That's when he discovers the set. It goes through the revolving door, and then he just is sort of like starting to like,
Yeah,
he's starting to see the ones and zeros
it's
out
the
there.
wish fulfillment of the whole
Yeah.
movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen this movie multiple times, and it still takes me back when he hits the end.
Yeah.
You're like, oh. Today's edition of the most rewatchable scene was brought to you by PayPal. This is bigger than the 12-foot snowman on your lawn right now. You can get 5% cash back when you pay later with PayPal. So whether it's a must-have toy or a tiered cheese board, PayPal helps make the most of your money this holiday. Save the offer, and the PayPal app expires 12/31. See paypal.com/promo terms subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/paying4. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457. What's the most 1998 thing about this movie? Did I prepare you for this one?
Yep. Most 1998. I think the Travel Agent.
Oh, that's a great one. Glenn came prepared. Glenn set the high bar for any future
I
celebrity
had a
guest.
very negative experience with a travel agent today, and I was just like, how is this happening? Like, I've called
Yeah.
you once in 10 years.
Right.
You can't make this work for me.
What do you have for 98?
Reality television being like a novel idea.
Hmm.
Just so the idea that like when you would have seen this movie in 1998, this would have seemed incredibly far-fetched. And now it seems like, oh yeah, isn't there a Truman Show on channel 236 that I
Right.
don't know about?
That's a good one. I had young Paul Giamatti. I don't know. It just jumped out to me.
He aged aged the best.
No, just that seeing young Paul Giamatti made me feel like I was in the mid 1990s because he was in Private Parts with Howard Stern and
And
just
my
like
best friend-
seeing that
yes.
version of him.
He's the bellhop in my best friend's wedding.
Yeah. He had this whole that guy run in the 90s before he became Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
And then he did the wine movie that we've already done.
Sideways. Sideways, of course,
That I'm blanking on. But yes, he did Sideways and he became Paul Giamatti. But for 10 years,
He was
he
this
was just
guy.
like
He was
this
stuck in the
guy with
moon.
like weird facial hair
Yeah.
and some. Anyway, what's age the best? Well, what do you have? Because I have a bunch.
Let me see what I've seen.
I'll do a couple while
All
you're
right.
looking up. I like movies when adults play high school kids in flashbacks, and I actually feel like they're in high school.
Yep.
Because people, they usually mangle that.
Yeah.
I actually believed Laura Linney was like when they all met together.
30 is a good age to
Yeah.
go. Like
yeah,
you
it
can
was
get away
just
with
far
like,
enough.
yeah.
Carrie
Yeah.
actually looked young enough, so I was
Yeah.
buying that.
You know what I wrote down for what age the best?
Yeah.
Product placement.
Oh yeah.
I
Had that as
think
well.
they sort of nailed like they kind of brushed it under the rug of the product placement, but how many how the entire world
I had
was
product
felt.
placement and post-game shows for TV shows. Like
I mean,
recap shows, basically.
Yeah.
This movie, this is probably for a different category in a lot of ways, like predicts Amazon. Because when you're watching an Amazon show, they're also like, you can buy whatever anybody's wearing in this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you can buy like the stuff that they're using. So it's kind of...
The only thing I missed out on was the
watching.
gambling content. Like, we didn't have Truman making a same game
I was waiting
parlay.
for this, yeah.
You know what I thought about that? Like there was like this one bar, like they keep. I never noticed the sort of aprons before, but it's not just a bar; it's a Truman Show.
Yeah,
bar.
it's like Bubba Gump's shrimp.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I kind of wanted to feel a little more universal, but I
Yeah.
thought about in that bar, you have to have some gambling in that bar.
Well, he does do 2-to-1 odds on
Pool
he's
table.
gonna. He's like the bartender does do like I'm taking odds on
Yeah.
him getting out of this, getting across the ocean here.
You should never see the action.
Yeah.
I was going to do this later. I'll just do this now since you brought it up.
Yeah.
So people are going to the bar. They're just having drinks and food.
At the Truman Show bar.
Truman Show's on. Are they allowed to talk about anything else?
You say that, but if I opened a bar called Miami Vice, we're Miami
Guys, we
Vice,
gotta-
Everyone's dressed like Miami Vice.
and we just had mojitos.
Was there, it's not a terrible idea. I
Yeah.
mean, this is what was the one that Stallone and Bruce Willis opened? The
Planet Hollywood.
Planet
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Oh, Planet
Yeah.
Hollywood, yeah, right.
You know, there's like I always loved the Rainforest Cafe. I love a themed restaurant.
Yeah.
You know
Do you
what I
think
mean?
there were some people that went to the Truman Bar and were like, I'll go to the Truman Bar.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking talking about the Truman Show. Let's talk about anything else.
It's got great
Anything.
ribs.
Yeah.
They got great ribs.
Product placement could have been a little more subtle.
Yeah.
In
Can I tell you-
98.
That's my one knock is I think that they could have been like there was the twin guys that they push him against. And I'm
Yeah.
like, he would have figured that out. Laura Linney's like kind of really selling it.
Like in the middle of that very intense moment, she has to promote
Yeah.
Moco Coco.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you don't have to do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the best Seacrest idea for What's Age the Best, no cats. Just dogs.
Sea Haven.
Sea Haven.
Yeah. There is no
Why did I
cats
write
in
that
this.
Seacrest? There are no cats.
There's a cat in the control
But
room.
very dog
Yeah.
friendly though. No
It's a
cats.
very interesting thing to notice.
Interesting. I'm only saying this for Mallory Rubin because she works with us and she's gonna be furious that I enjoyed a world with no cats.
Dude, it's fun. When I was shooting Expendables 3
Yeah.
in Bulgaria.
Say no more.
there's
What a start to a sentence.
There's a city. So the city of Sofia, Bulgaria is like overrun with dogs. All dogs.
Yeah.
And then there's a city called Plovdiv that is overrun with cats. And I visited them and I was like, what a weird thing to have. Like,
Do they have any sharks and jets?
That's
kind
what
of
I was
beef
thinking. I was
going
like,
on?
there's gonna be a war that happens when these two cities meet.
We gotta send Mallory there and report back. The What's Age the Best? The poster, which I think is one of the
a
best
great poster.
posters from this
Yeah.
decade. It was done by an artist named Rob Silverman. Hundreds of Carrey things that he just worked on forever, and they paid $75,000 for it.
75. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a great. Where'd you say it premiered?
The poster or the
No, the actual movie.
Oh, I don't know.
Was it at a festival or was it like a?
I think it was
I
just
think
a
they just
regular
pushed
premiere.
it.
Yeah.
I think they pushed it because they wanted it to go for Oscars.
Yeah, it premiered in June in LA.
In
Yeah.
LA.
It was supposed to be 97, and then the Titanic literally was this big boat coming for everybody, and they were like, let's
Yeah,
go
yeah.
98.
Yeah,
Better chance for the Oscars. What else do you have for What's Age the Best?
Age the best. I do think that the ending is perfect.
One of the great endings.
I think the bow at the end, the wish fulfillment of it. You get that thing that I love in movies, which is like the laugh cry.
Yeah.
Like where you cut to the world, like the guy in the bathtub just like slapping the wall. Like you kind of have that emotional reaction where you're like simultaneously sad it's ending, but also like so happy for a guy. It's
That
a
was
very
Chris last
hard
night
thing.
with VJ Edgecombe and the end of Joel Embiid's career happening at the same time. Is that a laugh cry for you?
The laugh cry.
In the tub.
Do you have any What's Age the Best?
I got a bunch. This movie passes the Raiders of the Lost Ark screenplay test that I'm inventing. Not inventing, but
I like it.
it's like, I think every 10 pages or 10 minutes of this movie, something really important happens and it makes you so engaged, like on a kind of almost subconscious level with it. You anticipate it almost like a thriller, even though it's like this drama comedy. But I was just,
Yeah.
I was realized this last night. At 10 minutes, he can't get on the boat. You're like, why not? 20 minutes, we meet Lauren. 30 minutes, he discovers the set. 40 minutes, he sees the fingers crossed wedding picture.
Yep.
50 minutes, the cop says Truman's name when he's like
Yeah.
no problem, Truman, or whatever. Thanks, Truman. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then at 60, he gets reunited with his dad, and you see Christoph in the control room. And then it's like the last 30 minutes, which is just crazy. But the way that like they have that like rhythm to like discovery in this movie, it's just kind of disorienting enough, and then you're like, oh, okay,
and it's
cool.
it's paced out well.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a version of the script in which we don't even realize that Truman is in a simulation until the midpoint.
See, this is what I wanted to ask about, is like whether or not you guys think
Best
that
time to drop it.
opening 30 seconds or 2 minutes in the movie is what makes it rewatchable, because you're like, I kind of know just enough about this being weird, but if you just have it play like a Sixth Sense twist, it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people are stupid. I think you have to cater to that a little bit. You kind of have to hold their hand every once in a while with something like this. I think that's why. What else do you have?
I had them doing T-Rex, 20th Century Boy, as like a 1950s sock hop jam, because like, you know, what is music in this world, and like how would they have, like, what does he know about like rock and roll or whatever? Or is time stop in the 50s? And so like the fact that they're covering a 1970s glam rock song that's obviously very popular, but making it sound like Chuck Berry or something like that.
Oh, that is interesting.
Is a kind of interesting idea about what they would do for like to keep this guy like engaged with culture inside of this world.
They just didn't want to pay for the rights.
That is also possible.
Right. You know what's funny though is I actually flagged that scene is actually I think one of the best directed scenes in the whole movie.
The dance.
The dance. I think that dance is like poetry.
Yeah.
It is done with looks. It's fun. It's paranoid. It's like it's got a sense of the world to it, and it does so much heavy lifting in a very short amount of time for the whole movie.
I had don't get freaked out. Deaths at sea in movies.
Oh.
I think are always riveting. And I almost wanted to do like my top tier best
Death
ones
Mount
ever.
Rushmore.
And then I thought
Best
that'd be
sea
super
deaths?
weird. Because Ordinary People has a great one.
Yeah.
This one has a really good one.
Jaws pretty
Perfect
good.
Storm.
Yeah.
Perfect Storm. But the one where you're like, just hold on. And the guy's like, I can't. And they fall back.
Titanic is probably
Visually, Titanic's another one, but visually it always works.
Yeah,
it's always a home run. It's like, oh, he's not going to be able to hold on, is he? No, I got it.
I mean, that's where the movie takes on a really dark thing. You're like, oh, what they're willing to do to keep this guy here.
Yeah, so
so
he goes under, and what do they have? Like a scuba dive?
They show a clip of it.
Yeah,
they show a clip of like he's like, I think maybe I'm making this up, but it seemed like the dad was like upset with being taken off.
Yeah,
the show.
he's in the montage when Christoph does his interview.
Yeah,
and they show the dad being like upset about it. Right? Yes.
Yeah. Like his storyline was cut off.
Yeah, the divers are in the water getting the dad. Right.
Quick ones. Big Kahuna Burger Award, best use of food and drink. The Mocha Coco coffee. Should come back.
I had Chef's Pal, dicer, grater, and peeler all in one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. I think those are the two. I mean, the Mocha Coco, I think, is maybe the most iconic.
By the way, not a bad name for a coffee.
I mean, they could have honestly paid for this movie with the amount of product placement they do within this movie.
Yeah.
Great shot, Gordo. Most cinematic shot. What do you have for CR?
Truman going through the revolving door, like with the kind of like realization that something is changing, or the last shot of the movie, him walking into the black doorway.
I liked when they finally stopped the storm, and they go the over the boat shot, and he's like this, and you don't know if he's dead or not. And then I don't know. I just thought that looked cool with the sun come up.
I loved Ed Harris touching his face on the screen.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very like a moment where you started seeing this like this like really messed up father-son thing happening where it's like he's obsessed with his creation. I was like, that was a moment that's like a very cool visual moment that like kind of sums up the whole dynamic.
Chess Rockwell, Brock Landers Award for best character name. Christoph's really good. It's such a douchey. Obviously, this guy would devote his life to tormenting Truman. His name's Christoph. He has no last name.
It's the backwards beret. Too, with the glasses.
He goes full douche on us.
Truman Burbank is pretty good.
Truman Burbank's good.
Yeah.
Truman Burbank. I mean, Christoph. By the way, it's the whole thing that they talk about is like Christ.
Yeah,
Christoph, that he's playing God.
And then he's the voice of God,
you know, and he's like a one-name guy, you know, Truman, Truman, you know, like there was like a lot of intention and all that, but I think Truman Burbank kind of like, I don't know, I could have had a second draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, Truman Burbank sounds like the left tackle on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
CR, you have a flex category. So this is a category that's not normally in the rundown, but CR has carte blanche to pick any category.
Okay. So I am choosing in honor of Heat. It's a book about medals award for belatedly best quote or exchange. The one that sticks with me the most because it gets overridden by Truman redoing good afternoon, good evening, and if I don't see you, good night or whatever. I love when he's like, you never had a camera in my head. The way he says that and like the idea that there has to be a limit to like surveillance or like the way that how much you can know somebody. And I thought that was like such an incredible like grace note to go out on. So I always like that line.
My favorite was with the two security guys where you see them like, they're about to, the husband and wife are about to get intimate, and you basically cut to the security guards. It's like, they never show it. He's like, you just cut to the curtains. They blow a little bit. He's like, they never show it. It's my favorite way to like get plot out, like to literally go like, hey, just like you're like, wait, or what are they showing? What are they not showing? But it is also one of my favorite. I'm like, I want to live with these guys.
Yeah, the parking lot attendant guys.
Brilliant line delivery too.
I have a bonus category. The Ed Norton Reverse Dunk Award for did this movie need a random sports scene? Like, could there have been a AA baseball situation going on
that's
here?
a really good question. Does Truman get Yankees scores or something? Or did they create like a fake baseball league for him to follow?
Was there a whole sports staff just writing fake stories about players that didn't exist?
It's actually a really fun. I mean, this is where the first AD comes in. That's a whole props department conversation.
They're making a full newspaper every day. So what's in the newspaper?
So is there a sports section?
Yeah.
Well, their newspaper seems to be just to cover up their own plot holes. Right. Their newspaper seems to be very reactive to things falling out of the sky and
airplane
ways they've
disasters.
messed up. But I always thought about that in terms of, obviously they're trying to mimic the real world. So they're trying to not like create a new reality. So people that are watching the show obviously want to see like their reality reflected in a weird way. But also the more you do that, the more you're sort of looking to the outside world. It creates like a sense of longing that there's something outside of Sea Haven that I thought was like an interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe lacrosse could have worked. Sure. They got the helmets. You never would know who the players are.
That's true.
That would be funny if he comes out of the studio and he's like, so, like, what's going on in the world of lacrosse?
like the writers are just like scurrying.
The Butch's Girlfriend Award for weak link of the film. What'd you have for this, Glenn?
I know a lot of people are probably going to, I bet somebody's going to say Marlon.
I didn't have Marlon.
You don't have Marlon on there?
No.
I think it could, there could, so go tell me why.
I actually don't think Marlon's the weak link of the movie. I find the dad storyline, I think I could have been better.
Okay.
In my personal opinion. I think he's sort of like, we could have cast the net a little bit wider.
In the research, they said there were extra Marlon scenes that made him like just a little deeper of a character.
Like more nefarious or like...
No, like he tries to actually help Truman at one point.
Oh,
and
really?
They cut it out.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
The reality is it's a very one-dimensional character. Like I like the idea that they built this entire backstory that he's known him since 7. But the thing that I kept being like really interested in is like, how did that 7-year-old get cast?
Yeah.
Right? What does his life look like?
Right.
What is the things that he's been living with? Like, how is this
child
affecting?
actor?
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, he's a child actor too. He's sort of in this different experience. Like he signed up at 7.
Yeah.
I was like really interested in what that, when your best friend in the whole world is going through this crisis, like what it actually looks like. I was like, that's cool to explore.
Prequel?
Oh, that's you know what? I'm kind of surprised that, well, we'll get to that.
What do you have for weak link?
I don't have a weakest link really. I think that I hear you about the dad. You know, it's like I wonder whether or not like if that had been like Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Does that
More
hit
famous
harder?
actor?
Like a hair.
Could have been more emotional. I feel like that storyline, because I feel like that storyline inherently is a one that opens up a whole can of worms plot wise. Like, how does he sneak back onto the studio? What's the conversation of getting him back on? Like, if he's already having second thoughts about this, like that's a whole other thing. But I go, if you had somebody that was like really like someone that already had all this like empathetic or empathetic nature, we had a history like a Hanks or like a Hopper, somebody that we've trusted before. I think you engage with that role differently.
I had I don't know what was fun about watching this TV show for 24 hours a day. I think I would have quickly.
The curtains blowing when.
I just think at some point
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let me guess. He's gonna wake up, say hi to the neighbors, drive to work. I think I'm good.
They present it like there have been moments on the show that are as big as the Princess Diana, Prince Charles wedding.
Yeah.
And that like people are like doing like Live Aid sized crowds to watch Truman get married.
Yeah.
And I get it because like that's the obvious nod that they're making, but it is sort of like, what are you doing on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. when Truman's like cutting his nails? Are you at the Truman bar being like, Trumaning?
Truman has diarrhea today. What stage the worst?
I'll say this: the CGI to pull off the Princess Diana wedding shots, to establish the outside world.
Yeah,
I personally think that what's age the worst is like number one, the CGI of the actual bubble. Right.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, we could have designed.
It was so early.
Yeah.
You could almost like redo that for the Criterion release.
No, 100%. Like
we
we could have just spent a little bit more time on this thing because it's kind of like one of the wish fulfillment things of the whole movie. But I just think the cutbacks to the real world, I would have wanted to see a little bit more ripple effects of the real world. Interacting.
That was mine.
Just limited.
What's the like? I honestly, even in 1998, like it would have been cool if they got a little bit more into the ethical and legal entanglements that this thing would have inevitably. I guess it is cool that it's like this is just such a runaway hit that even these few naysayers who try to disrupt it, they just become part of it almost.
Yeah.
And like when he's talking to Lauren during the interview, and he's like, no, I love reconnecting with cast members, even though she's saying that he's a liar and like evil. But I do think it would have been cool. Like, what's like the what does like the Supreme Court think about like a child being born to a corporation? You know,
Lauren would have been. We should have had her in What's Age the Best as somebody who's now devoted their life to like now online. It'd be so much easier to be like, come to my website. Here's my Truman podcast, and you'd have 9 things.
There is something really fun about also the fact that like that was one of the things where I'm like, the fact that you took a kid, raised him in this bubble, lied to him in this whole thing. I'm like, there would be a lot of people trying to break into this. This place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I was like, when the dad like
there would
snuck
be like
back
presidents running on it, and I will shut down the Truman Show day one.
Yeah.
What's age the worst? They filmed all the scenes at Truman's house at a residence in Florida that was Matt Gaetz's childhood home.
Oh,
I did hear this.
I did not know that.
So at TV, I just like McConaughey. That was just a tough beat for him to follow this movie with a similar premise. It's where the agent could have maybe been like, no. Carrie, Peter Weir thing. Let's stay away.
It's always happened over the course of time. It's like you release like White House Down, and then you release like Olympus Has Fallen.
Two Steve Prefontaine
The
movies.
Prefontaine was the best one ever. The two in a row. And then one was awesome.
Yeah.
Without Limits. My last What's Age the Worst. So Meryl, Laura Linney's character. So professional escort?
Well,
like an actor who has a fake marriage with somebody that she's clearly having sex with. And this what's her next job after this?
Yeah, because at 34, and presumably she might have had a child with Truman by this point, but if they're like, look, at 35, we can just get you divorced and you can move out of Sea Haven or whatever.
We're going to drown you in the sea.
What are the late 30s looking like for her after that? You know, the Truman Show got a little out of hand.
What does the next job look like after the Truman Show?
Having sex on camera is a little weird. I never understood that.
She thinks her career is going to look a little different after the Truman Show.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in like Out of Africa, right?
Ruffalo Hand Rubinick Partridge Overacting Award. Did you have one?
Philip Baker Hall makes the most out of. I mean, he's still always amazing.
He's chewing up scenery,
but he's just like the network. I'm the president of the network.
I had it too. That's a good one. All right. The CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford. Hottest take award. Did you bring a hottest take?
I'll tell you my hottest take.
Ones.
I love Jim Carrey in this movie. My hot take is I do think this movie could have potentially been really good with Tom Hanks.
Wow.
That's good. You got to go for the head there. That's great. So go, talk us through it.
You almost said Tom Cruise, or you said Tom. I was like, Cruise?
Oh, shit. No. The thing with Cruise, it turns into the
Minority Report. Yeah.
You know, it's like what you don't want to do is you don't want it to feel like a paranoid thriller. The reason Jim Carrey is so good in this movie is it brushes all that away. It's a guy who's grown up in a very manicured existence. I will say that for me, Hanks represents the everyman that you sort of root for. Like he sort of feels like a guy, like some of these moments would just be a little more subtle. I don't know if they'd be as much fun to watch, but I would engage with the movie, I think, with the Tom Hanks in a different way because he doesn't feel like an everyman. Like again, we talk about only get so many buy-ins of the movie. I feel like the buy-in is that now you have a normal guy who's realizing that he's not normal. Jim Carrey is so over the top as a person. Obviously, his existence has been manicured, so you could justify that. But I find that Hanks would represent a little bit more of an everyman who's realizing that he represents something to the world. And that debate of, do I leave this existence or stay here? I think it'd just be it would be a different movie, but I would love to see what that movie looks like.
Cruise, definitely. They add a running scene over the bridge.
Yes.
That sailboat scene at the end would just be so dope.
He's definitely hanging from the sailboat.
No, he's hanging from the moon, man.
He's filming his own sailboat scene. He said, no, this has to be an actual sailboat accident.
This is going to be the actual moon.
Yeah. I want you to hit me with real waves. What do you have for hottest take?
Kind of similar to what Glenn said. The first director attached to this movie was Brian De Palma.
Oh.
And I would love to see the
like
sex-crazed, paranoid Truman's cutting up magazine pictures of women and trying to recreate Lauren. Like we get maybe Melanie Griffith playing Meryl. You know, there's just a lot more. Like I think of the sort of debased psychology of this character.
They definitely have sex on the beach.
Yeah. I mean, it could have come out that way, and I just think that would have been amazing.
All right, mine's a little complex. I think 1998 is in the running for the greatest checking all the boxes movie year we've ever had.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you all these different categories that I created 5 minutes ago. All these different types of movies that can come out in a year.
Yeah.
Drama, Saving Private Ryan. Provocative drama, American History X. Foreign, Life is Beautiful. Beloved movie nerd movie, Out of Sight. Guys movie, Rounders. Great comedy, There's Something About Mary. Cult comedy, Big Lebowski. Goofy comedy, Wedding Singer. Conspiracy, Enemy of the State. Political, Primary Colors. War, Thin Red Line. Sports movie, He Got Game. Horror, Halloween H2O. Action, Armageddon. Well done for me and CR action, Ronin.
Yeah.
Yeah, CR. Sci-fi, Truman Show. Sci-fi horror, Blade. Rom-com, You've Got Mail. Black rom-com, Stella Got Her Groove Back. Corny drama, Patch Adams. High School, Can't Hardly Wait. Fucked up indie movie, Your Friends and Neighbors. You seen that one?
No.
It's a fucked up indie movie. TV turned movie, X-Files, animated A Bug's Life, and Kids Parent Trap.
That's a damn good movie.
If you use all that, like, think about how many categories I just listed, and we have an awesome one for each one. Let's go back.
It's a shame.
98.
Let's bring 98. Yeah, let's make this happen again in 26.
It would be amazing if Fennessy had been here and he was like, actually, it's 1934. And like Tucky Barnum's,
But I felt like we had so much more variety. I know TV's ruined some of this, and some of this stuff goes scripted. Like if you did Chad Powers in 98, it just would have been a 90-minute sports movie.
Well, I think one of the things that we talked about is potentially doing it as a movie. But what you start to realize is the way that I conceptualize it is I was like, do I want to see the Breaking Bad movie before the Breaking Bad show? No, you want to watch Walter White incrementally make decisions that change. You know, you want to be with him on every single one of those things. It doesn't have as much satisfaction if you.
But in 98, you don't have that choice. They're like,
no,
you have 100 minutes max.
Yeah.
And it's $14 million and you can have 2 stars.
Yeah.
Go.
It's also like, you go back to those years and you look at like the calendar of releases, like you were at the movies once a week, if not 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
That'll come back. We had a lot. This was an awesome movie year, and it feels like we're climbing back.
I also feel like when, people always think that like TikTok or Instagram, like, siphon, eyeballs away from movies. I also feel like it also connects us into those cultural moments that really resonate. Like I feel like those things say like, hey, this thing's awesome. I just think you can't. There's like this era that I feel like people just accepted that people went to the movies. There's like the 98 where you're like, all those movies are killer movies.
Yeah.
And now that there was like a thing where like, oh, we just accepted that people go to the movies and there wasn't as much like artistry or intention behind it. And I think we're coming back to where it's like the only way you open a movie is when it's really damn good.
Yeah. Right. And the word of mouth is
plugging
crazy.
Running Man, November 14th.
Oh, we're getting that.
It's
but it's like, but that's the only way you actually get to people to go to the movies, because like ahead of time, like 2-3 weeks ahead of time, if it's a stinker or not.
You might, with Running Man, you might just have to be like, got to see it in the IMAX. That just seems to work now. Like Rewatchables episode with Glen Powell, you got to see it in the IMAX.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's totally different.
The second time I saw One Battle, I just saw it like, in a relatively half full, like regular AMC theater. And I was like, this is still awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't always have to like go to the greatest possible experience.
I will say when shooting, like it always bums me out when people tell me like they saw Top Gun on an airplane. I'm like, bro, you just missed out on the whole, like, I'm up there, everybody's puking and passing out in jets. And like, we shoot it all in IMAX. Right. You invented cameras for things. There was like so much. And I'm like, to experience that movie in IMAX was such a blast. Like, even it's like watching.
Dudes were saluting the screen in the theaters.
Right.
We're like,
that was like the first Welcome Back to Movies theater movie in a while. Let's take one more break and then we got to zoom through the rest of this. Casting what ifs. Carrey's price tag was $20 million a movie at the time, 10 less than Glenn. But he took 12.
That's
took a little discount. And he said it was the fastest he'd ever accepted a role. There's some stuff about they talked to Sam Jackson about. My shit detector went off. I didn't believe it. Gary Oldman was the other one.
Gary Oldman they did screen tests for.
Yeah, but I don't think they actually offered it to him. Yeah, as a Carrey fallback. Dennis Hopper was supposed to be Christoph and was Christoph and filmed 2 days of scenes, and then they
talked to Ed Harris about this. I shot a movie with Ed Harris, and he said he got cast like a couple days before he shot this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Hopper said he got fired after 2 days because Weir and Scott Rudin, the producer, didn't like him. Hopper leaves. They try to get Jack Nicholson. Nicholson's buddies with Hopper. He's like, I can't do that. So they end up with Ed Harris. And Brian De Palma turned it down, as CR mentioned, which is a different movie, to say the least.
Terry Gilliam and Barry Sonnenfeld were also circling.
Interesting.
Yeah, Terry Gilliam would have made a very interesting film out of this.
Best That Guy award, it can't go to Giamatti because he's now Paul Giamatti, but the Asian guy from Karate Kid 2, the bad guy, of course I was.
Yes.
Wait, yeah, the guy Daniel-san fights in the end. The evil guy.
What are you talking about, Snyder? Oh, the big guy.
Yeah.
You're talking about the big guy.
No, the guy Daniel-san in Karate Kid 2.
Wait, he's in this movie?
Yeah, he's the Japanese family that's hanging out at the table watching.
Yeah?
That's him.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
He regrouped after Daniel-san kicked his ass.
And got really into Truman Show.
Yeah. Dion Waiters Award? Are we giving this to Natasha?
No, this goes to Giamatti. Giamatti's in like 4 scenes. He is ridiculous in this movie. Like, this is a nothing burger part.
Yeah, it really is.
And when he's just like, he doesn't even care if he drowns. I'm like, oh my God,
it's very grounded.
Yeah.
It's a very grounded performance for knowing that he probably shot 2 days on a soundstage.
Yeah.
You agree with Giamatti?
No, you know what a role is the woman who's next to Giamatti.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I find what's really, really funny about that performance.
Chloe, I think her name is.
Chloe. They shoot her. I wonder what happened in the edit, because they shoot her like she's a super important character in several of the most pivotal moments.
But she never says anything.
But she never says anything. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, something happened, I think.
They just cut her part out. Yeah.
Peter Weir.
Man,
it's like something like a bad fallout in post or something. I don't know what happened, but there's like,
I'll show her.
Do you ever see like in movies sometimes where like all of a sudden you see like somebody like that's framed up important? Like they have a really good, it's like deep focus, like perfect line, and you're like that character.
Did that ever happen to you like on your coming up days?
I've been cut out of stuff before, but I always just notice it in movies where I'm like, oh, that thing is framed importantly, and she was framed.
Yeah,
in all the climactic moments, she's
Recasting couch director City as Marlon. Can I test drive Sam Jackson for you guys?
It's interesting.
Test drive away. What? Why?
Just I don't know. Just
volatile. A
little more of a, maybe I just wanted a little extra from Marlon, and I'm not sure what I wanted, but some sort of whose side is he on? I just felt like there was more there. There's more meat on that bone.
Yeah.
I don't know who the actor, but that was one I thought.
Yeah, he could have been the cross the street neighbors that Truman's always greeting.
Sam.
Yeah.
Good morning, motherfucker!
This Sea Haven is so intense.
This place is nuts. Craig, you have flex category.
Yeah, so you know how we have the Vincent Chase Award for are we sure this character is actually good at his job?
Yeah.
I want to nominate the opposite award, and now we're calling it the Christoph Truman Show Award for the character who is unbelievably good at their job.
Yeah.
Christoph threw a perfect game for 35 years.
That's true.
Fucking Jerry Bruckheimer. I mean,
That's true.
pretty much just him in this room sniffed out the fact that Truman was faking sleeping. He's feeding lines to everybody live. Like, the guy is cooking at the highest level.
Yeah, 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. It's just him. He's like the best instincts ever.
Another thing that if we're talking about, they were talking about the GDP of this economy, that booth had to be bigger than that.
I know.
They really they got the studio called and cut the budget last minute on a few.
So the implication though is that they have put a dome over Burbank, California, basically, right?
When they show the continental United States, it is huge.
Are we doing this? Yeah, I mean, this was obviously the biggest nitpick. How fucking big was this place? How did they have all the water? How did they have all the electricity? How did nothing ever go wrong?
That's one of my...
Even like the Staples Center has had 4 accidents. In 20 years.
It's like the Sphere on steroids.
Yeah. It's
You know
basically
what I mean?
like Disney World or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, one of my nitpicks was that I was like, are lights falling from the sky? Are isolated thunderstorms happening? Are the frequency things happening? Why is this happening now?
Right.
That I could have just used a little external pressure to understand why things are going wrong now. Because you're right, Christoph has thrown a perfect game.
I mean, my God, 35 years he's been doing this.
35
Really,
years.
the radio frequency, if that doesn't happen, maybe
You could
they're still
get away
making
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half-Assed Center research, just quickly, this was filmed in Seaside, Florida, which is a master plan community in the Florida Panhandle. I have no idea what that means. What is master planned?
Oh, it's like a planned community.
Manufactured homes vibes?
Disney was going to do that stuff, like where it was like you would have like these towns that were like...
They do. Disney has
Very-
one in
they do.
Palm Springs.
Very manicured, like nobody's building their own house. It's like, here's the floor plan. Or
Look
the
cool.
look.
Disney has one called Cotino in Palm Springs right now.
Was this what they were doing in Succession? This was Kendall Roy's thing?
Yes.
The living with the old people could have media and people coming to visit them. Laura Linney studied Sears catalogs from the 50s to develop her poses. I thought that was interesting. Greta Gerwig consulted Weir for Barbie because she wanted to create that world, which made total sense when I saw that. Before the boat stops, we see the number 139 on its sail, which is, I guess, for some Psalm 139.
Yeah.
Some stuff
Interesting.
in there. And then Carrey improvised a bunch of stuff, including the True Mania bit when he was drawing on the mirror. Last thing, there's this thing called Truman Syndrome. You aware of this? That started in the 2000s with people who have some version of schizophrenia where they believe their lives are reality television shows. And the writer said, Andrew Nichols said, you know you made it when you have a disease named after you. These people constantly think they're being filmed.
I have 2 more. One is another Nickel thing, which is the original script is set in Manhattan. It's an alternative Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it was much darker. There was an innocent passenger attack on a subway that was supposed to test Truman's courage, which is a little Truman Show death wish, kind of like that. And Truman had a platonic relationship with a prostitute who he dressed as Sylvia. That would have been the De Palma part.
Wow.
That sounds amazing.
And then Peter Weir, when this movie was like, I think after the movie came out, he said he had a crazy idea at one time, which was impossible technically. I would have loved to have had a video camera installed in every theater the film was being seen in. At one point, the projectionist would cut the power and it would cut to the viewers in the cinema watching the movie. But I thought it would be best to leave that idea untested.
Yeah, that's one of those great idea can't actually happen.
Yeah. That's a bit much.
We get podcasts pitched to us like that. Well, what if we're hanging out upside like an NBA game and we're next to the Jumbotron doing a live broadcast of it? It's like, sounds good. Apex Mountain. Jim Carrey, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
This is Apex Mountain for Jim Carrey?
I think this is right in the middle of this crazy run that he had. 1998. He's had all the success. This is his first drama.
Yeah.
It's well received. Liar, Liars around there. I think he's like the most powerful actor in Hollywood, other than maybe Hanks and Cruise. But Cruise is doing Eyes Wide Shut.
This is also a movie where you're like, well, you can do anything. Then.
You're actually right.
Yeah.
Because this is like, you're right. This is the end. This is like not the end of the run, but it is the third act of that crazy 7-year run that you're talking about.
I think it is. Laura Linney, not yet. Ed Harris.
What is Laura Linney's Apex Mountain, just out of curiosity?
I mean, she's had a bunch of them. Probably somewhere in the early 2000s, though, right? When she does You Can Count on Me, and she just becomes one of the most respected actresses.
Is that when Primal Fear? Primal Fear is right around
96.
here?
Yeah, it's somewhere in here.
Yeah. Okay.
Ed Harris, I don't know. Probably early 90s.
Well, this is like when he's doing action movies and stuff like that. He's in a couple of Michael Bay.
Apollo 13's is.
Yeah. Apollo 13's
It's right around here, yeah.
Hidden camera movies, yes. Deaths at Sea, I still think Ordinary People's.
Well, you made that category up. Yeah.
You got kind of weirded out. I thought you'd be with me. You were like, what's going on
I'm with you, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I have no idea.
I don't have an opinion
just
quite
don't
yet.
have any
I got to think about
for these things.
Peter Weir, Dead Poets?
Yes. You think this over Dead Poets?
You know the thing about I think this is a way more complex. I think the vision of this movie is way more complex than Dead Poets.
Okay.
I think even just the way the camera angles of like where you hide things, how you build this thing. It's much more of a world building thing. I think this is a very tough movie to direct.
Mocha Cocoa Coffee, definitely.
Yeah.
Noah Emmerich, probably still Beautiful Girls. It's some big scenes. He alerted the guys. He alerted the guys that the Matt Dillon character is getting the shit kicked out of him. I don't know. Reality TV warning movies. Definitely. That's all I had for Apex Mountain. Cruiser Hanks. We said Hanks. Scorsese or Spielberg? Spielberg.
Yeah.
What role would Philip Seymour Hoffman have played? Clearly Truman's buddy.
Marlon. He would have crushed.
He would have easily. I think he was probably too young in 98.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a great casting, though.
He could have played the Peter Krause role, like the guy who works in the insurance agency with him.
What if it was Marlon, but he played it exactly like Freddie and Talented Mr. Ripley?
Hey, Truman.
Hey, Truman. How's the peeping?
How's the peeping?
Picking nits. So, I'm not even talking 98. When Truman's a kid, were the cameras and Wi-Fi really this good?
No.
Like in 1981,
That's a very good point.
we were able to do this?
Hardwired. Yeah, everything's hardwired. You're right.
Yeah.
I was carrying in high school in the late 80s, carrying around this giant video camera that would sink your shoulder after 10 minutes.
They shot 28 days later on DV cameras that were really small. I don't know when that comes out, 2001. And that you can barely watch that movie now because of the film quality.
Yeah.
So I don't think Truman Show realistically would have looked like this, obviously. Yeah.
We mentioned how did you pay all the actors and extras? And was this just their job forever? And what was in it for them? If you really want to be, would you want to be an actor in this for 10 years?
I mean, it just depends. It depends where. One of my favorite scenes is when he gets on the bus and the guy pretends to stall out the car and whatever. It reminded me it felt like we were in the far corners of the universe where he wasn't expecting this to happen. All the background on the bus just kind of get up and move. Nobody's has their own life. They're like, oh, nobody thought the C team was really gonna make it on screen. I did sort of like that world creation. It felt intentional that nobody felt real.
It brings up a really good thing though, because on the bus, the little girl breaks.
Yes.
And is looking at him and is like, is that him? Is that him? How would you get kids to behave themselves on this show? You know what I mean? How would you get a bunch of children to not be like, I watch your TV show? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You wouldn't. But that's why this movie, we forgot to mention this, so what's age the best, Craig? Hour 41.
Now, I would argue, this is one of the rare cases where I could have taken 10 more minutes of this movie.
Craig's very passionate, and no movie should be more than 100 minutes unless there's an incredible reason.
2 hours occasionally. But
2 hours,
I do.
maybe.
Oh, wow.
There were some moments, I love a quick movie. But the woman they introduced to be his new love interest, that's not explored at all. You probably could have taken a scene of that.
Yeah.
I could have seen him unraveling a little bit more, trying to figure things out a little bit more. I don't know. I could have taken 10 more minutes. Hour 43 is tight.
We've done rewatchables where Craig just looks the movie up and it's 89 minutes and he's like, yes, sir. We knew what we were doing way
all
back
those
then.
80s movies, man.
What, any more pick and nits for you?
Just the idea that Christoph goes full Old Testament on him at the end and no one is sort of stopping.
Right.
I thought that was an opportunity to really world build, show the chaos of a man who's desperate to keep his creation alive. I thought it felt too calm up in the movie.
It's also just what's the plan if he's oh, okay, I'll stay. And Christoph now has a TV show that costs $500 million a year.
The amount of money. Also, he's not the only one invested. there's clearly a giant machine invested in him not getting out of this thing. I thought there was interesting ways to explore that.
So one picking it I had, so he was just going to kill Truman. What happens if Truman died in the boat?
I think he was trying to. Okay, so I think that's left to
pretty risky
to the audience to decide. But I was interpreting it as he's trying to traumatize this guy so much in the water that he turns around and goes back and never tries to leave again. And that they can sort of like, now we can try to fix this, but I don't know if he was ever going to murder him. Although he does say he was born on camera, he'll die on camera, kind of, right? Like,
I mean, it's like, I created you. Like, you know, like that's what feels very Old Testament, like where it's like, I created you, I can take you, I brought you in, you know, everything that you've experienced that's any sort of value I have been a part of. I thought it was I think it's a very, very, that was one of my favorite parts is the conversation that happens to the moon, like right before he leaves. It's such a...
You can listen, you can speak, Truman, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's so good.
Speaking of that, my one picking it, it's basically the reverse of the overacting award. If I have lived my entire life and found out that it's been a television show, and then I sail a boat across the sea and it runs into like a piece of drywall, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm losing my mind. It's like Jack Woltz with the horse head in his bed. I'm like, There's no like, weird. I'm going to go try and find a door. I am losing my mind.
That's a great point. Truman jerking off, having sex, all that stuff. Like, I know they just went to commercial or whatever they did.
Well, they never cut to commercial.
Taking a dump. There's a lot of stuff that if you don't know you're being filmed all the time, maybe it wouldn't have been great for Truman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also never showing a second shift in the moon.
That's right.
Ooh.
Same cast of 6 characters in the moon, 24 hours a day for 35 seasons.
Yeah.
It's a tough gig.
You know?
Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast, or untouchable. You talked me into a prequel.
Nope.
Them as kids. Prestige TV, maybe, but I think this is an untouchable. I think Prestige TV would have been an interesting approach.
Can I pitch you on a sequel?
Yeah.
So he has a kid with Laura Linney. He impregnates her, and then while she's pregnant, or maybe even before he knows she's pregnant, he escapes.
Mm-hmm.
The new baby is born into the new world.
New Truman.
And is now the new young Truman, and it's now him trying to infiltrate to get back in to get his son out.
Solid. That's a solid movie, dude. I'm into that.
Glenn just signed on.
Bro, are we doing this?
He's dropping from 20 to 12.
Sorry, I just got to drop out of Miami Vice real quick.
Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Mad Dog Russo, Doris Burke, Buffalo Bill, Sam Jackson, Nell? Nell would have been interesting in this community. Byron Mayo, Tony Romo, Chris Collinsworth.
Do you know who Nell is, Glenn? Because I still don't. Do you know who?
What?
The Jodie Foster character, Nell.
Do you know what that means? Because I don't.
In what movie?
Jodie Foster made a movie called Nell where she lived in the woods and talked her own language. And I think she got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
And it's now a comedy.
I've never seen this movie.
She just like does that for 2 hours.
It's like her and Liam Neeson. And Liam Neeson's like, I will help you learn English, Nell. And she's like,
you know what I kind of...
It's really something.
One of my kind of fans, we have a production office on the Universal lot. And one of my fantasies is to create fake movie posters with some of my like actor buddies and just see if people lie like they've like actually
that
seen.
Was really good. Yeah,
oh, that's a great idea.
You know what I mean? Like Nell would definitely be like that. You know, remember like she's in the woods, she's doing the thing. It's like,
like, are you fucking with me? Like,
it's really bad. We'll send you the trailer.
We didn't actually do it. Do you want to do Collinsworth?
No, were you going to do?
I'll do say this is what would have happened if Wayne Jenkins. Did you ever watch We Own the City with John Bernthal? This isn't going to hit as hard then.
No, it's going to. You got to do it. He was a crazy Baltimore cop.
If Bernthal was playing the Peter Krause part. Goddamn, Truman! I didn't know I was working with the BTK killer. You better stop cutting pictures of ladies up from those fashion magazines, or they're going to be making a Ryan Murphy limited series about you. Now get him the fuck out of here. So he plays a Baltimore cop in this show.
Yes.
Where he basically does that speech. But
could you add that to my development slate as well?
Sure.
Thank you.
Ryan Murphy, definitely.
I did find that not in one moment in that movie did the cut-up magazines look like a human face.
No. Yes.
I could have used, if he spent all this time every day, I could have used like...
It was a really good
really disturbing
vehicle to show like how fucked in the head he was getting from this whole experience.
Do you think, though, there is like First Take for the Truman Show. Like there's sports talk shows all day where it's like Truman needs to step up. He has not gotten promoted at Sea Haven Insurance for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're starting to wonder if he's still got it. You know?
Can I tell you that is like where I was like if you that's where like for me like the real world stuff when we cut to the guy in the bathtub or the bar, like I was like, oh, we could have gotten so much more world building in such a smaller sense. Like the people that are, like have talk shows that are literally built around this guy, like analyzing what's happening. Like
what was that guy's name? Mike Michelson?
Yeah.
He was like the post-game host, Harris Shearer's guy.
Yeah. But like, why can't we have Jim Rome come on for a second there and just be like, you're in the jungle, we're talking Truman today.
Just one Oscar who gets it. I have Weir. I actually think that was the best case for him. I thought this movie was so well
Over
crafted.
Spielberg for Saving Private Ryan?
No, but if only one got it, I think
agree.
he is the best case.
I agree.
I thought the way it's filmed, it was really ahead of its time. It feels like a 2015 movie almost.
I
That was
have
1998.
Andrew Niccol, only just because I just think this is one of the great original screenplays of that decade. And it just seems like so cool that he went from this is like a dark thriller set in New York City to I can just rewrite this over and over and over again until we get it to where it is. Now, I know there's a lot of improv and probably other stuff going on, but still.
Did Andrew Niccol write this draft, the Sea Haven draft, or he drafted New York draft?
He said he wrote like 12 versions of this. Yeah.
Unanswerable questions. Was Christoph evil? I think is a good one.
Yeah.
Like, was he actually like an evil guy? Leaning toward yes, but he might have just been deranged. I don't really know the answer. Because he becomes kind of evil as this movie goes along.
You also, I always love how people justify their ways in the world. Like with all great villains, like they don't look at themselves. You can like pop into those moments and go like, oh wow, this guy's like what he did. But like he's sort of like looking at himself as a father figure. He's like the way he's justifying his place. He's protecting him from the evil outside.
Yeah.
Like he's like almost nurturing this guy that he truly loves. Like that's his mentality. That's why it's like I think you could definitely get into the politics of kidnapping a child and raising him in a bubble. But I think for him, I think that's one of the great performances. I love how committed Ed Harris is to the.
You know what I didn't notice until this most recent watch is Harry Shearer, when he's interviewing Christoph, goes, and I know you really guard your privacy. And can you imagine the irony of this guy being a guarded person, but he's like, this guy has to be on camera all the time. It makes that much more like profound what he's doing.
I think for Unanswerable, you get to move in the Zawatney Award for what happened the next day. What happened? What were Truman's next 24 hours like?
Straight to Vegas.
California Pizza Kitchen.
He's like, oh my God, in Burbank. What's going on out here? Yeah, so he's in. We figure he's in
the TMZ bus.
Yeah, exactly.
We think he's in California.
He's in Burbank.
He's in Burbank.
Yeah,
right.
Foster's Freeze.
So he's just kind of wandering down Hollywood Boulevard, just doing this.
Just like a lot of guys on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah.
I think they say it's Burbank. I think it's more Van Nuys.
Oh, okay.
I think it probably bleeds a little bit into Burbank just to get the
He walks down Hollywood Boulevard. He's like, I'll go back in the dome.
Get out here. Yeah, so I don't know where he
What'd
goes.
You do today? I met Spider-Man.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
Christoph, you're
Spider-Man
right.
and Batman. What piece of memorabilia would you want or not want from this movie?
I'm going Christoph Beret.
Really good. Really good. I guess I would take the dicer peeler grater that Linney had.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I was thinking his ring, but actually what I would want is the original poster that the guy made. Like first edition.
Oh, interesting.
Here's the prototype of the poster we're going to use. I think would be a good
that's
one.
cool.
Coach Finstock Award, Best Life Lesson. What else is on?
Yeah. Or just
It was like, we spent 35 years with this guy. Hey, change channel. Cool.
Yeah.
just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean people aren't out to get me.
Right.
It might be.
Best double feature choice, The Matrix.
Oh, that's interesting. I would go Gattaca, Underseen, other Andrew Niccol. He directed that one. Pretty cool.
I'd go The Game.
The Game. Yes. Good call.
Glenn's like, I'll go The Running Man. Premiering
The
on
Running
November
Man.
14th.
Premiering November 14th. Honestly, guys, great double feature. I'm just saying.
Who won the movie?
I think Carrey.
Is there a Peter Weir case?
What was it?
I think it is Carrey, but I think the Peter Weir, he needed this one.
Master and Commander is like the next one after this, I believe.
Yeah, so I don't know if I don't think that means he won it necessarily. I think
It's
Carrey. I think Carrey wins.
Yeah.
It's Carrey. Craig, what do you got? Craig, had you seen this movie?
Yeah, many times.
Okay.
This is one of those movies that I don't know when is the first time I watched it, but just kind of always felt like one of the first few movies my dad showed me when I was like growing up. It's like, oh, you got to see The Sandlot, you got to see Die Hard, you got to see Truman Show. It's just like always been in the lexicon. I feel like the Truman Show. So yeah, I haven't seen it in a while though. It's just one of the all-time concepts. Like the first 5 minutes of the film, there's no way you're turning it off. It's incredibly rewatchable. And it's only getting aging better and better. It's so prophetic. People do, like there are YouTubers now or influencers like Emma Chamberlain, who's at Spotify, or like Kai Cenat.
Yeah.
Those people will literally stream their lives 24/7. Like Emma Chamberlain and Kai Cenat will film themselves sleeping every night.
Jeez.
So, we're kind of living in that reality where people are willing to do this, which is pretty crazy.
The closest thing I ever get to that is like there's a guy who has a YouTube channel, but he edits these, but it's like he goes camping with his dog and he like cooks like these really gourmet meals.
I believe he recently he shut down. He stopped doing it.
Did he?
Yes, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
But it was like, oh, like this is really relaxing to watch this guy like set up his campsite, make a T-bone with like a bunch of sides. His dog's kind of hanging out. And I was like, this is beautiful, but like it's like they're like 30 minutes. They're not like 24 hours or something like that.
I think there's always like from the beginning of like entertainment, I think like people crave truth and crave reality. The irony is like on this one, it's like all manicured. It's all fake. So like there's a whole commentary on like what we're being fed in terms of reality shows and what actually is real. But I do think the Kai Cenat thing, the reason that people are so engaged is like that thing does not cut.
Yeah.
And he's doing nothing.
Yeah,
and people are engaging just on the idea that they're experiencing something real, even if it's
exactly. There's a kind of a pushback, like a boomerang effect now, where we've kind of been in the 21st century media world for so long, and everything has been manicured. We're so aware of that now things are turning the other way, and we actually want that kind of raw material. And the influencers they know that, and they're like, yeah, I'll film myself 24/7. Like you can watch me get up in the morning, and it's interesting.
I wonder if part of it is like it's just a more lonely society post COVID. People maybe aren't around each other as much.
Parasocial relationships.
Yeah, you have like this, Kai's my guy, and that's like your friend that you've never met.
It's also interesting in Truman Show. Like I was thinking about, again, it's the Rack Focus movie of looking at the old women with the Truman pillow, the guy in the bathtub, the bar. It's like there's a sense of power that people get being like a little omniscient, like a little like having like a place of like going, well, at least I'm more aware than this like person, like, or at least my life's not this, like, or whatever it is. Like the fact that they're not partaking in life, they're glued to those couches and they're watching a guy live a fake reality, but it represents real reality. Like this is the reality they're living in. I think it's a very fascinating, study of how we engage with the world. Like it's the people that are technically providing us content on TikTok. You meet them in real life, they are glued to their phones. Totally. They are not participating in shit. And it's like, it's just a fascinating,
Yeah. I can't say anything because I watched the NFL for 14 straight hours on Sunday. Literally from 6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
14 straight hours. And at one point I went on the treadmill for 45 minutes just to feel like I was doing
the
something.
blood flowing in the lower half of your body. Yeah.
So, we all have our things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. We talked about the reality TV angle, but the social media angle of this movie, I think, is definitely the 2020s.
Did you guys? So, is Running Man? Without giving too much away? Is your Running Man set a little in the future, or is it kind of like where did you guys?
Well, the original Stephen King book takes place in 2025, which is wild.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
The original Running Man book, Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, wrote it. I believe in '82, and it's set in 2025. Where all of this stuff, like in terms of like, deep fakes and sort of where we are with reality TV and how sort of the bloodlust of the world, all that stuff is like, it's all already baked into the book, which is crazy. The world looks, we don't really specify a date, but it's a little 5 minutes in the future.
Okay. And then with Edgar, like, were you somebody who was like, I'm watching Hot Fuzz like once a year pretty much? Like, had you been a fan of his forever?
I've been a fan of Edgar my whole life. I mean, Edgar Wright movies for me are some of the most well-crafted movies of any filmmaker out there. And he's played in all these different genres. And I think the thing that when you look at like Hot Fuzz, when you look at Baby Driver, you're like, this is an action director, a guy that can like literally, even though it's a comedy, Hot Fuzz, you watch it and you're kind of parroting, Michael Bay shots, these sort of crazy parallax shots, these big slow-mo shootout things, but they're undeniably amazing action sequences. And so getting to watch Edgar on this movie like truly unleash and like take that weapon and just like send it. It was just awesome. It was just awesome.
You're high on this movie. I could tell. We can usually sift through those.
Yeah.
When
I'm telling you,
somebody's
this movie
it's cool.
rocks.
That's
like
awesome.
when I tell you it rocks. Like I got to watch it with all the theater owners the other night, and it played like a rock concert. They were losing their minds. It's again, not to say like we should watch this podcast in IMAX, but you should also watch you should also watch Running in IMAX, because it's like one of those that was like it plays in a big screen format.
That's really
like,
cool.
You know.
Would Cruz be proud?
Cruz is gonna see it. I get to show it to him in a little bit. Yeah. He's gonna love it. Honestly,
do you lean on Cruz? Do you ask him advice and stuff?
He's like one of those guys.
Like your guru?
You know what's really great about Cruz is think about his like education, like the 90s that you're talking about. He's played in all these different genres. His skill set and his education is so singular.
Yeah.
There's very few people right now in this phase of my career I can ask like a question to that I'm like, hey, when you're getting blown off a bridge and they're about to light this thing up, like, what are you thinking about?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He's
hey,
like,
I'm thinking it sounds great.
you know what I mean? Like when you start talking about like certain stunts, when I'm just like, hey, like running, whether it's running on camera or like how to sell an action movie properly to an audience, like what you're thinking about, like in the general architecture, what your role within it is. Like, there's very few people you can ask over the course of time that have done it at a certain level. So yeah, like I don't necessarily do it on every movie, but on this one, like it was a huge resource.
And then are you ever like, what the hell is up with the ending of Eyes Wide Shut?
Can we walk through that one more time? Yeah. Glen Powell, true pleasure. Thanks for doing
so
this.
fun, guys. Thank you, guys.
See,
This was
our
awesome.
pleasure as always.
Yeah.
Thank you to Craig Horlbeck. Thanks to Gahao and Ronak as well. And we'll see you next week. Good luck with The Running Man.
Thank you,
November
guys.
14th.
Yes, sir.